Welcome to Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Mo Athletics and powered by the Raw Athletic Booster Club. I'm your host, Tom Brown, and once again, Coach Derick Heflin for Bulldog team. Coach,
What's up, man?
this is always a tough one, right? We don't
Yeah.
get to talk about the team meal, that last game of the season,
Yeah.
and it was a tough one. I mean, the great thing was we had a good season. You're hosting that first round of districts. We're matched up against Campton, which again, quality program, always a good team. Down a little bit, and we had really been hitting our stride.
Yeah.
And it's one of those you always hate for that season to come, as we're talking about. But the way it started off, that it was that first quarter, and it was a slugfest.
Yeah. No, and really the first half was that way. We came out and had answers offensively, and we were able to run the ball and move the ball and do the things we wanted offensively. We were on film. They had not run the ball like that, and the Durning kid had been more of a pocket passer. He'd always scrambled and made some plays, but not quite like he was doing Friday night. And it was just something where he showed out and made plays, and he's a good athlete. I think they were talking to the kids. I think they mentioned he's looking to play Division I baseball. So you get an athlete like that, and we had played tough teams. You just hadn't seen a team spread it out the way Campton had, and it just gave us some fits. And then the two block punts really kind of come back to get you. But there at halftime, if we went in and said, hey, we made a few adjustments and got a few stops at the end of the first half and came up with a few more adjustments of, getting more tools in the toolbox, getting our kids in positions we thought could put them successful. If we get a stop to come out there and offensively can stay in our flow and where we're going, it was a good thing. But then we get behind the eight ball and, when we have to when we have to pass, we're not as good as when we get to pass.
Yes.
And, that was kind of where we had been the last couple of weeks or last half of the season, where we were dictating when we were going to throw the ball, and it allowed our guys to be more open and easier for Easton to make throws, and it's easier for your offensive line to protect if they're trying to stop the run game. But once we got backed up behind, it just became really difficult for our guys and put us in an element that we're not great at. And it was just one of those things. It was a tough night, but we definitely had our chances in that first half to do some things, and we put some things together and made some plays and had some good drives.
Yeah, you look at that as you brought up the first punt block. Obviously went for it, recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. And that was tough because that first play, he had like 8-yard gain with, I think, Emery up the middle, or Smith. I can't remember who had the first carry.
Emery, and then we had a busted play. We ran the wrong route on a concept, and I think Easton thought something was going to be there right away, and we were supposed to run a now and get the ball out to quick to CP, so almost like a screen, and CP ran a hitch and it was covered, and then there's a boot off of it. By the time we got to the boot, Easton got back to line of scrimmage, but it just put us in a situation where we were behind the chains. And then
But just like we've done this really all season, and especially the second half of the season, we respond right back.
Yeah.
And when we get back, we get boom. CP gets a big run, just blows by those hitters. They had all the angles on him.
Yeah.
And he kind of worked his way in there, kind of would blow by him, move to the side, keep going, and took it to the house.
And he hit it. And, that was some things we had done, and that we figured out ways to get CP the ball. We worked that all week. And the two long runs were the same play, just out of different formations. And the two guys that really made the play go both times, other than CP. I mean, obviously you can't teach that explosion, that athleticism. But Rio and Reedy did a great job blocking, setting the edge, getting to the next level where he had a crease and was gone. And it was good. Those guys did a good job. And before we put drives together, moved the ball, and then that was just the big play that busted. So we like I said, we had things going offensively, but yeah, CP's definitely a difference maker.
And we were up in the press box, calling the game, and we're talking about those blocks. And everyone's gathered around and we're celebrating the blocks. We talked about that the week before.
Yes.
How excited the kids were about making the downfield blocks, bringing guys, and things. The one with the Delegard's pick six, where everyone keeps on and Reedy flips the kid.
Yeah.
See his feet go up the week before, but it was that they're not giving up, where maybe at the start of the season they might have said, okay, hey, good luck and run.
Yeah.
But now they're like, no, we're with you. And you just had blockers everywhere.
Yeah, no, and that just goes to the kids and kind of where we are from year one to year two in the program. And that's I'm sure we'll talk about all that stuff, but there were things and signs of good things happening throughout the program. There's still a lot of things we got to build and keep working and get better at, but that we definitely became more of a team, and there was a lot less, me. It was a lot more we than it was the year before. And it's another thing when you have a big senior class, that maturity, and that comes with age and time of, hey, there's more to this than just what about me. It's how do we help each other to get where we want to go, not get where I want to go.
And you start to think about that legacy as
Yes,
well, that they leave behind, yeah. So we get back, we go back and forth, exchange blows, it's 14-14, and we get the stop leading.
Yeah.
And now we have our chance to go, and our offense was really clicking. And kudos to Campton, they made some adjustments, they adapted, and the next thing you know, things got tight, they started shadowing CP pretty heavy.
Yeah.
He was taking a lot of shots, even when there wasn't necessarily a ball thrown his way.
Yeah, Jack took a couple too that were a little, I'm not whatever, but I feel like there'd been a couple times where if we'd have done that, somebody might have been ejected, and there's a couple. There was the one on Jack was bad, but it is what it is. It's football. It's a violent game, so if the refs don't see it, it's not a penalty, and you can't. And those things don't make a difference. Just little things, and like I said, we got ourselves in the 8 ball, and it was one of those things where I think if we could have, stayed in our comfort zone, really, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and being able to run the ball, and like we had done with Hammer, Easton, and Emory, and then use Jack and Delagarde. But Camden's a good team, and they're really well coached, and those guys said a lot of really good things about our kids after the game was over. But they had a game plan of knowing that, hey, it was how it was going to be, and they had a good game plan to stop it. And we were able to find some creases and make some things happen. It just didn't go the way we wanted to at the end.
Yeah, and you brought up the Durnan kid. So he's going to Wichita State to play baseball, and his other brother went to
the middle one's at TCU, and the older one is at Wichita.
Yeah. So and there was at one point when they were, I think, a senior, sophomore, freshman, or a senior, junior, freshman. All three of them were on the field.
They were the long snapper, the holder, and the kicker. Yeah. I remember at the All-State meeting, Jeff bringing that up a few times.
Yeah, and they were. I mean, that's how good of athletes these kids were. And so in the past, I think all the Durnan kids had a year at quarterback, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes they're filling in.
The oldest one would fill in, but Bear Shore was quarterback. Yeah.
And then I think he might have missed a couple games, and the one filled in. And then they'd be there's these stud wide receivers, and then the next year it's like, oh, we had a graduate. Oh, I'll move to quarterback.
Yeah.
And that Durnan kid there, because again, I don't know if he was primarily a quarterback coming up. I know he played receiver because
he was the receiver and played free safety for him last year, and tore his ACL against Lebanon at the end of the game. It was nasty. He went up to make a play, playing defense, and came down wrong. And we've all seen those highlights where that goes wrong, and it wasn't good. But you see stuff like that, and you're glad the kid's back and doing things. Just wish it wasn't quite as good against us. Yeah,
and that was he showed a lot of patience, which we all talked about. We're like how impressed with him, and like you said, he's not he doesn't come across as a running quarterback because he's normally just kind of taking his time executing the plays. But you had the is it Demott kid, I think, was the running back.
Well,
and he ran well. So you had a nice 2-man game that allowed him to do kind of the RPO type stuff where he could kind of read and then maybe dump a pass, and he's pretty accurate. And again, just being that athlete, that was definitely it was tough. And like I said, when we got down, we in that first half we're down 21-14. And, again, we had 14-14 in the first quarter, and then they only held them to a touchdown, but then they got the ball come out at halftime, and then, again, it just got kind of tough. And
I think we got stopped, and then they blocked the second punt, and then we just got behind the 8 ball to where we felt like we had to throw it instead of, like I said, get to throw it, and it just kind of, we still made some plays, and we had we had that one long screen to Jack, get a call back for a block in the back. There were just things where kind of snowballed on us there at the end of that third quarter where we had some momentum, got some stuff, the score of the third touchdown, we get the roughing the punter, they touch it, recover, we go in and score. We had some momentum back, and then we couldn't get a stop, and then we couldn't. Offensively, we were kind of stagnated at where we were at because we went to our spread package, and it actually was one of those things where I think we were better under center throwing the ball because we still had set up our actions and still things they had to respect things because we were still able to run the ball here and there when we needed to. Or I felt like, hey, we need to at least get back to manageable to get this first down. We were still able to run the ball, and that was the thing watching it. If I thought, if we'd have been able to just stay in our option game and not get out of that shell, I think we'd had a better chance because I think option wise we had a good game plan. Easton pitched it, we hit the edges kind of that we hadn't done the 2 years I was here. We pitched it, got on the edge a couple times. He had some nice runs. Emery did a good job setting it up, but those things, once you get down to 2 or 3 scores, you kind of got to put on the back burner.
Yeah, definitely. So we talked earlier about CP having kind of a big night, big plays. So yeah, Colt Petersmith, he's a big dog, big dog athlete of the week. 3 carries, 83 yards,
2 touchdowns. Pretty good.
2 touchdowns. Yeah, that was definitely explosive. And then had 2 receptions for 9 yards. Again, they're shouting at him on that. But then you also put him on defense.
Yeah,
knowing that they're going to be a passing team. He had a couple really nice tackles out there too.
Yeah, he ran down the Derick kid a couple times when everything broke down, and he did a good job. Coming off the shoulder injury, we had not let him play defense, and then I guess the Parkview week we started repping him because you knew who you were going to play, you just didn't know where it was going to be at, and he did a good job in a couple weeks getting ready to play, and we definitely trimmed down his package to small things where he's really just playing man. But he did a good job on both sides of the ball, and then what he announced Tuesday, he's going to Nebraska.
Going to Nebraska to play baseball.
So it's a great week for him. And he's worked hard. He's a great athlete. The sky's the limit for him for sure.
Yeah, he's getting ready. He's in. So again, we all know you can see his speed on the football field.
Oh, yeah.
Well, already in tryouts this week, they're talking about the speed, and they had him up front doing the pace setting on stuff, which was not good for everybody else that was there because CP doesn't know an off switch. Yeah, congratulations, CP, on coming into Nebraska for baseball. I mean, he had several D1 programs. He was looking at some Power 5 schools, and having Nebraska be that good fit. And you and I have talked about that a lot. It's really about where that fit is, where you feel comfortable, and where you're wanted too.
Yeah, that's the big part about it is in college athletics today. It's fit and where you can see yourself getting to your full potential, and hopefully Nebraska is that place. It's a pretty cool school atmosphere. I know we got to be at the Colorado Nebraska game, so that would have sold me, but
Yeah, except it's Nebraska. Wait, are you in Nebraska?
Oh yeah, I grew up Tommy Frazier, Lawrence Phillips, in the mid-90s. That was
I know. As a Mizzou fan over those years, that was never a good time for us.
Yeah, the kickball. Yeah, that was good. I think I got grounded that week because my dad was a Mizzou fan and he didn't kick it. It just happened to go in the air and catch the ball.
All righty, Coach. We'll let you go on that. All right. So, hey, thanks, Brian Clark, for sponsoring the Big Lots Big Dog, and congrats to CP for the Week 10 Big Lots Big Dog. Appreciate that. So let's take a look, kind of looking back at the season. We started off the first game going to Festus. Again, we got the new schedule, a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
We got the stoppage, we got the delays, and a lot of that will cause some controversy. So it's kind of a tough way to start. But after that, you guys started getting your stride. We started seeing some things, and we talked every week. We'd be on here and say, "Okay, hey, we saw things that were better than the week before."
Yeah.
And almost every week it was the same story. We saw things that were better than the week before. So we got the challenge, got some new faces, we got some familiar faces that we've seen. You hold, we go from adversity in the first week to finishing our season at hosting a district game.
Yeah.
So as you reflect back on that and get the 6-4 record, how'd the season work out compared to what you thought you're going to have?
It was one of those things going into the year with the new schedule. There was a lot of uncertainty because, there was really 2 teams we played, maybe 3. I'm going to go blank here, but really, Parkview and Hillcrest were really the only teams that these kids had ever played. Going week 1 and the way that whole thing happened and transpired was a little weird. Real weird. And then it was one of those things where you knew you had a good senior class and you had a bunch of kids coming back with a bunch of experience in different spots and different areas. We thought our offensive line, that left side and Nash at center, was something we could build around. And we had a good junior class come back because we played so many sophomores the year before. It just takes a little bit to gel, and I think too with the uncertainty of a new schedule, your kids not even these kids, every Raleigh kid really for however long it's the Ozark Conference, and those are the teams you play. And even when we were in the Mid-Missouri Conference, when I was a little kid growing up, you still wouldn't play all the Springfield. I mean, the schedule has changed a little bit here and there, but really, since probably the late 70s, the schedule's been close to the same schedule. And this year it wasn't. And, those kids, they did a good job. And, we're going to miss that senior class. They did a good job. They showed up. They did give me a few more gray hairs. I tell Kendra all the time, I don't think I had gray hair until I met you. But, they on Friday nights when the lights flipped on, they played hard and they played together and they did things the way you wanted them. And, there were always things you could see where we were building and things were going the right way. And, a lot of those guys did a really good job in the off season too of putting the program where it needs to be and putting in the work and doing things that were new and different that I brought in. And I felt like, they put us in a position to be successful. And, 6-4 in Rolla football history is a there's not been a whole. I think looking at Coach Franks, I got the records the other day, and they're I think Rollin only had 26 seasons above 500, and we've been playing football for 60, 70. I mean, 1946. You can do the math. I ain't, because I don't want everybody to know how smart I really am. But that's a long time, and those kids having that mark of being 6-4 is a big deal, and being above 500. That's something you can hang your hat on when you come back and talk about it. Hey. And, we had chances to, you talk about the Fetch game, the North County game, we kind of blew the lead there. We had a great first half, didn't play the third quarter, and they came back. You have a chance where you can look at it and say, hey, we could have easily had 7 to 8 wins, and that puts you in a better seed and all that stuff. But, those are all ifs and buts, and that ain't the way the world works. And, but, these guys laid the groundwork for those underclassmen to see kind of what works. And even, with every good, there's always things you can take away of, hey, well, maybe we don't need to do this. And that's the same thing, where I'm at in our staff, at the end of the year, you sit down and you start reflecting on, okay, hey, what worked, what didn't work, what do we need to retool, how are we going to retool this team, not rebuild it. And that's the goal kind of where you want to get to with the program is where it's a retool, not a rebuild. And, we've had this class, a lot of those guys have played since they were sophomores. And, we were talking before we got on air, football is the one sport where there's really not another I guess wrestling too. There's not another recreational sport you can go play. Basketball you can go play at the gym, and baseball you can go play. So hit softball until you're however old. Golf you can play your whole life. I guess I'm not any good. I don't try. But football's the one thing. When it's over, it's over. And that's always the toughest part. I always tell people the last football game is always kind of the worst day of the year unless something real tragic happens. But it's for those kids, they played football since they were in 3rd or 4th grade. The amount of time and effort, since July, I joke around with them. I think I probably spend more time with them than anybody else because, we're in class together, we're at practice together. In the summer, we're here a couple hours a day together, so there's a lot of time. There's a lot of things that go into it. And when it's over, the real world hits you, it's over. There's not a do-over. There's not a get to take it back. And, that senior class did a lot of really good things, and there's a lot of kids in there that, like I said, gave me gray hair, but they were fun to be around. They were fun to coach, and going 6-4, yeah, it'd been better. I wish I was playing right now, but for those guys, you double your win total from the year before, you can see progress, and you just got to keep building off of it, and that'll leave a legacy of, hey, this is where it is, and now you guys got to take it to the next level.
Yeah, the thing about football is when you say brotherhood, it really does stand out. And again, I'm a huge, obviously, basketball fan, but there was always something about that football relationship, and we're talking about, because the physicality of it, the mentality of it. It's that once a week game that everything builds up to that Friday night, and it's more of an event, right?
Oh, yeah,
because everyone's coming in, people come back to town for it. Where you have multiple basketball games during a week, and the other sports are that way.
Yeah.
And so there is always something special about football, and that mindset of what you're putting out there and what you go through. Is again, it takes its physical toll, it takes its mental toll on players. So we know how that is. But now as a coach, you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
But your job is to reload. So your thing now is you're looking. Okay, hey, hate to see them go. And I always think about that Friday Night Lights movie.
Yeah.
Where they immediately go in, and the next day they're taking the names off the board, and they're looking at the next draft, the next order. And it's not to be callous about that, but the mindset is you're now looking at next season.
Now it goes to 25. No, Monday I came in, pulled up the Excel sheet from last year, and it's not on. Now it's on the computer, but you take it and you got to delete those seniors and say, all right, who are the guys that fill these holes? And start building and start getting after it. And the big thing's going to be the offensive line. We lost 4 guys up there that if one group, like you said, we brought back 3, but the build of the whole year, those guys really caught their wind and did a really good job at the end of the year. But, you're going to have to find 4 of those. And offensively, Mason got hot and had a heck of a senior year. So you got to replace that. But Terrell had done some really good things, and we had used him and got him some experience, so you can see where that void fills. And then you flip over to defense. You losing Chase and Kinder in the back end will hurt. But there's guys that got reps and got looks, and Jagger and Mason back there too. But we had some depth there. Linebackers the real spot where I look at my guys and I'm like, oh, all right. And Trutt and Reedy had great careers. They finished 1 and 3 in tackles this year. Trutt finished with close to or over 300 tackles in his career. Reedy too. Reedy went quite over 300, but both those guys, were a big part of our defense and leave some big shoes to fill. And it'll be tough, but we got the guys, I think, that with the right work ethic and the right mindset can do it. It's just, there'll be some growing pains and some things where when you've started 20, 30 football games, you see and know how things are going to work. When you've only started a couple, it's a little different. But I think we've got the pieces, and you bring guys back, Easton and Emery and Jack, Cam Brown, Cam Moore, both those guys that have played big roles. There's a lot of guys, Michael Hammer, there's a lot of guys that have been on there that can set an example and lead these guys for the next year. Our freshmen, like we talked about, had a 6-2 year, had a good year, and now it's get those guys ready so that they can fill voids, and hopefully the juniors and seniors. That's always the thing I've always tried is you try and avoid playing sophomores as much as you can because they're sophomores and they're growing and they're learning and they need that experience. And kind of the way the way we got to play with Blaine is the kind of the example I've always wanted to do it is, find a role for him, get him on there, have him be a backup, play all the special teams, get him, half the snaps and then go play 2 quarters on Monday nights. Those are things that you try and do, but because I had an old coach tell me one time, every sophomore you start, it's almost 1 loss, and you kind of look at it, I think we started 4 and we ended 6 and 4. It's one of those things that kind of rings true, but I think we got some talent and some groups, and it just now it becomes all right. What are we going to do in the weight room? How are we going to attack the off season? And we got to get in the right mindset to do that.
And so, again, off-season, big thing, bigger, faster, stronger from the first day you got here.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you talked about, having that program, building that program. We got the junior high weights going now over at the junior high.
Yeah.
So we have that. We got the new weight facility that we did in one of the episodes to show that. And I know it's a great program. A lot of people have been coming in, and summer they'll be there.
Yeah.
They're going to keep going. Now, several athletes are moving on to additional sports. We got Easton and CP will be basketball, and also the other boys. You got
wrestlers,
Kate Kinder state champions.
Yeah. And it's just a balancing act of it all, and finding, and it's really one of those things through the years. It's our weight program is not some package thing. It's something that I've developed through the years of just being around people way smarter than me and figuring it out. And it's one of those things where we can tailor it how we need to tailor it and fit it to how we need to fit it. But it's the weight room doesn't lie. If you get in there and do what you're supposed to do and do it, do every set and do every rep the way you're supposed to, good things happen. And if you don't, it tells a story too.
And often you don't have your starting is it left guard? Is that what Easton Brown is?
Left tackle. Your left tackle is your second best golf player.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
actually this year you got a chance to be number 1. So that was a new one for me last year. But and then Cam's on the tennis. He's one of the top 4 on the tennis team. It's interesting. But to me it's one of those things that's the great advantage of having the weight class during the school day is you want those kids to go play other sports because I can do all the crazy things I want to do in the weight room, but at the end of the day, that competition of one-on-one and being on a team, you can't simulate that. So that's good for those guys. And, I'm excited to get to see those guys in the winter and in the spring go do their stuff and be successful in other sports.
Well, Coach, let's before we get out of here, let's take a look at, again, thanks to some of our sponsors for everything they do. We got Dan Collier. We talk about him all the time, man. He did a great job on the chains, right? He's not that good neighbor. He's that great neighbor. And really, just again, appreciate everything Dan does and work with the chain gang, having it for Friday nights. It's a lot of fun with him. Phelps County Bank, 100% employee owned. Bankers by day, Bulldog fans by night. Go to mypcd.com, find out more about them. Talk about Kobe Wands, 2-time All-State player. He's the guy who went in the weight room, and his body transformation through basketball was amazing, and had a great college career, and now does basketball training. Again, appreciate everything he's done. And last but not least, so Angie Reese, MVP apparel, man. I am sporting the swag right here, looking good. Check out my new bag inside the huddle. Thank you, Angie Reese. Excellent job with that. Appreciate the way she supports the Bulldog program, puts us all on the stuff we need, man. Just really appreciate it. Thank you, Angie. So, okay, last question. When so from here on out, so again, season was done Friday night. Now we got the advance game coming on. We got Camden heading up to Elias.
Yep.
Are you one of those coaches that, okay, now season's done, I'm done with it because we're no longer in it and I'm focusing on next season? Or are you one that still follows things like, hey, I'm gonna go watch that game, that's a good matchup, I'm gonna go watch it?
I this week I'll keep tabs. Next Friday I'm gonna be a little busy, so I probably have to see that one. But usually I take about a week off and then go see games and watch it, because you kind of need that. I don't know what the word is, but you got to kind of take a break from it and just have a Friday night where it's not there, and then you take that one Friday night off, and it seems like you need to get the lights back and see that, especially when people are playing. And my little brother coaches at Carthage, so at some point, if they're still in it after next Friday, I might be able to go down and watch a game. And one of the guys, the first guy that ever hired me is the defense coordinator, so I keep tabs with those guys and all that stuff. But this week taking it off. Next Friday is probably going to be the most stressful day of my life. To come to that, it's going to be a crazy thing. But yeah.
Again, I offered we can do a live feed on Inside the Huddle, but
I don't know if she'd be okay with that.
we could be outside the waiting room.
There we go.
Waiting for you.
Yes. No, it's just no plans for tonight, and I say that, and at 7:15 I might end up. The hardest part is Mission Charge. Mission TV is awesome. If anybody doesn't know what it is, you can watch all our games in the regular season for free if you can't get there, and you can watch almost any high school game for free. And then all of a sudden, week 10, it's $10.99 or something, and then for every single game you want to watch, it's $10.99. So you got that, and then you get the state championship game, and all of a sudden it goes back. You pay $10, and you get every. But Mission. They're way smarter than I am because they're making way more money than I am. But
oh my.
Good. It'll be nice, get recharged, and I'm excited to get to work with these guys. We got a good junior class coming back, and you can see the guys coming up, and the future's going to be bright, and the grind of it all is the fun part of it. This off season of taking those kids from point A to point B, to me, is always the most fun. Is you see kids and see a transformation of where they are now, and when you can get them somewhere where they don't even think they can get to, and then go out there on a Friday night and be successful. That's what this is all about. And I think we started touching the surface of that. That's how you go from 3-6 to 6-4. And I can see the future with a lot of these guys, and you can see the guys that are ready to take those roles that maybe didn't play that much this year already have those big eyes of, all right, I saw what some of those seniors did, with Chase and Mason and where they came from last year to where they were this year, and them seeing, oh, hey, just follow the plan and it can be me. And that's the exciting part and the fun part, and I'm ready to get back to work, so it'll be all right.
That sounds great. Well, Coach, heck of a year. Again, finishing 6-4, earlier than you wanted, but facing the challenges you had to hosting that first round of districts, I think it's a great year. I know for me personally, watching the progress of the team throughout the year was rewarding to watch it and to be part of it, and just creates a lot of excitement for next season. So for Coach Derick Heflin, I'm Tom Brown, and from Inside the Huddle to the Heart of the Game, we'll see you next time.